Do you think there's a God, or?
I think there's something that makes good people, makes good things happen to good people in the most general sense. Obviously, bad things happen to good things happen to bad people. I don't think of a guy. People they gave you that guy idea, the old guy.
Sure. Well, why? Yeah, how would we know his nature?
Yeah.
But when I look into your eyes, though, I'm not joking. When I
I've never had a talk show host say that to me.
When I look into your eyes, I see.
And I've done hundreds of talk shows.
I see an eternal being.
I've never got the answer to the one question, which is why? Why Connecticut children? Why? Why a bomber in Boston? Because if there is a God, he's omnipotent.
Yes.
If he's omnipotent, he could prevent it.
Yes.
Why didn't he prevent it?
I don't know, man, but you got to
don't
stop
get in.
hanging out in that hot tub with Bill Maher all the time and get some. It sounds like you got a God-shaped hole in your heart.
What the hell are you talking about? You get a lot of attention on Twitter sphere for being open about your religious views. What are they?
I'm a Christian. It's not
Devout?
stylish to say now.
No, are you devout?
Yeah.
You believe in the Lord?
Yes, I do.
You think you're going somewhere when it ends?
I don't believe it, but what people don't understand about faith is that you have to choose it. You know what I mean? They think that you believe it, but you have to choose it.
So you choose to have faith?
Yes.
That means you believe you're going somewhere. What is faith? But I have faith.
Yeah, the same way that you believe. There's a lot of things I have faith, but I don't really believe in DNA. Like if I was on a jury and a guy was predicted that his DNA was on this cigarette, I go, I don't know what DNA is.
I see. So you don't have faith in that?
No, I don't have faith in science.
Really?
Well, think about it. Haven't scientists always been wrong? Like they used to think the sun went around the earth. Everybody's, hey, that scientist. Well, he's so smart. We'll give him a white coat.
Other science refuted it.
Right, but back then, everybody at that time thought that guy was smart. Why at this time do we think that the earth goes around the sun?
Did Christ think the world was flat?
Huh?
Did Christ think the world was flat?
There is an enormous intuition amongst every person that has ever lived that God exists.
But it has to go beyond intuition into the whole scientific community verifying it or falsifying it. So it starts with that intuition, but then there has to be something there. There has to be some facts.
No, not necessarily. For instance, if you have a deep intuition that cigarettes cause cancer, which is still unproven, by the way, then you don't need evidence. And if in a court of law, you certainly don't need evidence. You don't need a body. You don't need to find a dead body. If all things point to something, I don't know. I have very strong belief in intuition, and I just find it interesting that something that everyone believes, some people pretend not to. I just find that very, very interesting. That's all.
Well, it's not everyone, then. Yeah. I think that's.
Like, for instance, I'll tell you this. For instance, if you see an atheist, you will never see an atheist argue that God doesn't exist because the tenets of Scientology are absurd. They will always pick Christianity. So it's very interesting that they choose the God that they decide doesn't exist, which means really they're choosing the God they think exists.
No, I don't think that's the case. If you read some atheists, they'll say that Zeus doesn't exist. The Christian God doesn't exist. That any of the gods you can think of don't exist. Or better yet, they'll say, maybe strong atheists will say that, but the intellectually more honest ones might say, there's just no evidence that they exist, and since there is no concrete evidence, why bother living your life that way in assuming that there is?
Well, Here's the thing. Science has only proven maybe, I think, 4 things in the history of science. So that's why there's a theory of evolution, even though evolution is I think certain. It certainly happened. I think evolution certainly happened. Now, I could say to you if I wanted to that it is a theory because they haven't proven it. But I believe it.
They use theory differently in science.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean the same as, oh, I have a theory that, whatever.
They use it because they have strict rules on what makes a law.
Right.
And it's almost impossible for anything to become a law.
But scientists will believe that, it is 99.9% sure, given that there is evolution. But they're always open to new evidence, and they have to be. And, and when you talk about Copernicus
Well, I don't know if they're open to new evidence. When I hear Stephen Hawking say there is no God, I go, what kind of scientist is that? I mean, I heard him say that. I heard him say there is no God. It's a fairy tale. That's not a scientist to me.
Well, that's one scientist. So the scientific community is everybody.
Stephen Hawking's.
Yeah.
That's the preeminent physicist in the entire world, is saying something out of obvious prejudice.
Did you hear the whole quote, or is this like an Adam Carolla thing?
No, I didn't hear the whole quote. No,
You read it on Facebook.
no, I did not hear the whole quote, to be fair. But I was kind of shocked that that science says, like, we've given up. I don't know when scientists started saying things were unknowable, but that's a new one on me, because that's not a scientific term as far as I know. Unknowable?
Maybe they don't.
I don't think they could. I don't think scientists could possibly use that term unknowable, because it infers that they can see into the future.
Okay, now you can't blame me for where this has gone.
No, I
right?
can't. No.
But I'm going to go with it. How would you even begin to prove the existence of a God?
Well, I don't know, because I don't have the powers of a scientist. I certainly couldn't prove the existence of the planet Mercury, if that's even a planet anymore. I can't. I can prove anything. I'm just taking their word for it.
Right, and that's what we do. And when you say in your act, I know it's comedy, but, Copernicus and Sir Isaac Newton, they made these glaring errors. But at the time, that was the best evidence available, But who is it that always corrects them? It's science as a community. It's other scientists. It's not just somebody going, no, I got this idea. It's actually, maybe that's how it starts, but then they actually have to set out and study it and prove it.
Yes. No,
So it's other scientists that correct scientists.
I'm all for science.
Okay, good.
Because I want them to make things that'll make me live longer and stuff, But I would really like I would like eternal life. I would like some proof, one way or the other. If prove it that God doesn't exist, I don't care what you prove. Like, at least prove one of them. But try to work on the only important thing. Certainly everyone can agree that's the most important thing, whether or not we're alone, or whether or not we're taken care of. Certainly anyone in their right mind would agree that's the most important question to answer.
You mean for an afterlife?
Not necessarily for an afterlife, but that would also be good. But without God, there's no purpose. I don't care what anyone pretends otherwise. But it's highly, highly irrational to say that there's purpose without God, because there simply isn't.
Right, but it's not a bad thing to have no purpose. We're born, we die. It was nice.
Though that's fine, but that's not what most atheists proclaim. But no, if that were the case, that would be fine as well. But most atheists proclaim that there can be purpose in life without God.
Well, you make your own purpose, right? Or not, whatever. But you're just here for however long you're here.
Yeah, but I don't believe you can make your own purpose any more than I believe.
Also, a greater purpose.
No, I just think I don't. Obviously, a fucking dog can't make his own purpose. So, or an ant, or a honeybee, you know what I mean? So why the fuck should we think we can make our own purpose? It doesn't even make sense.
So
Again,
define purpose.
Again, it's this idea that man is somehow important. It's this crazy idea that both highly religious people have and atheists have, that man has some quality to them. You know, atheists have this idea that they can't quite resolve within themselves that man is divine, but they can't say divine because that means God. But they believe it. They don't believe they're equal. Man, no man, I don't care what they say, no man believes he's equal to an animal or an insect. No man. I don't care how, if he lives on top of a mountain with snow and shit, he still doesn't believe he's an insect.
Seems like this is a reaction against certain atheists who have certain arguments, but that shouldn't affect how you believe.
No, it doesn't affect how I believe. Okay. No. I don't believe. I know. It's a different, and because I believe intuition is everything to me, more than my mind, because my mind can play tricks on me, and my mind is very easily swayed by others and so forth. I personally believe that there's something else other than the mind that you can't talk me into murdering somebody with your atheistic idea that what does it matter one way or the other. I could read all the existential literature of all time, I still wouldn't kill someone.
Take some bath salts, though.
It's good of you to try to help make this funny at some point.
Your intuition must have been proven wrong at some point in your life.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's very true. Like, but not the real deep intuition that stayed. Like, I often would find myself like very heavily influenced by culture, or whatever you want to call it, or sociology, whatever those words are. Where I sometimes, I remember when I realized I didn't like sunsets at one point in my life, and I was like, "What the fuck am I looking at this shit? I don't even like it." And I realized that I just thought I liked it because I was told they were supposed to be beautiful or something. And I remember because I was with my kid and I was looking at this stupid fucking sunset, like I wasted my time so often looking at it, and I was like, I don't even like this shit. Why the fuck? But you just have certain moments in your life where you come to for a second with some lucidity. But yeah, obviously we're not immune to, this terrible educative process that, weighing us down all the time. None of us are. How can we not believe in what everybody believes in on some level? But you try the best you can to maybe not wallow in cliches for your whole life. If you take any subject on any arguments people make, all they are empty, false cliches, in my opinion, at least. I don't know, though.
You ever talk about this on Letterman?
Look, man, I wanted to be funny. We fucked up somewhere along the way.
No, I love it. But as you say, after you were on Maron and people were talking about, oh man, it blew my mind how sensitive Norm was, and you said, like, yeah, anytime a comedian is I forget how you
Well,
worded
no,
it.
because there's a lower bar with comedians that if they say something that's halfway fucking makes any sense at all, because it's the same with an actor. We're fucking idiots. So if a clown says something, you know what I mean? If a fucking if a bird with a broken wing fucking hobbles it together to fucking jump up and fly for 3 inches, everybody's happy. That was a bad fucking example of that.
Well, no, it's because you're high.
Exactly. When I fucking started thinking I had MS or something, with my hypochondria and shit, because people would go after shows, man, what are you on? I'm like, nothing. They're like, your voice is slurry, and then I read something about that's whatever MS and stuff. That, people have MS. At first, people think. Because they're stumbling and their balance is. I'm like, I don't have good balance and I slur my words, but no, I don't have that.
Did you get it checked?
I actually did.
I've been checked for it too.
Have you?
Well, my mom had it.
Oh yeah, it's good to be checked for everything. My God.
And after to bring it full circle here, after you get checked for something like a colonoscopy or MS or whatever, it gives you a new lease on life for at least a month, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing, and it's that like you walk out and the grass looks a little greener, and and then God is everywhere, and then a couple days pass, and you're carping about the butcher didn't give you enough goddamn pork. You wanted a full loin, and the guy only gave you a quarter. If only we could stop with with these little tiny things and this preposterous gadgetry that we're talking into, and just for a moment, think about real stuff. Hey, here's Josh. Come on in, man.
This would be a
is
good time to end it.
I know, the least funny podcast of all time with a comedian.
Thank
Made
you,
history.
Norm.
Thanks, man.